Thank you. Thank you and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Ken Owen. I'm Executive Director of Media Relations here at DePauw, and thank you, Michelle. And I'm here tonight to perform my comedy routine. I'm also a 1982 graduate of the university, and we're thrilled to have you here tonight for the Timothy and Sharon Ubben Lecture Series. Tim and Sharon are 1958 graduates of DePauw, and back in 1986 they gave the university money with the express purpose that we bring in incredible visitors, bring the world to Greencastle, as it were. And in the intervening years, we've had people like Margaret Thatcher here, Colin Powell, Barbara Bush, Tony Blair was here a year ago, and tonight we have Todd Rundgren, which is a real special treat. Todd will be out in a matter of minutes. We're going to cut the house lights. I put together a little video for the 4 or 5 people out there that may not be quite as familiar with Todd's work as others. It will take you from the very beginnings to today, and then we'll welcome Todd to DePauw University. So direct your attention to the screen, and the program is underway. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to DePauw University's Ubben Lecture Series, Todd Rundgren. Todd, good to see you.
Put it up high.
You have friends.
Well, thank God for that Letterman guy. You know? Nobody would know who I was otherwise.
I promise not to be James Lipton tonight, so if I am, somebody throw an ice cube right about it. We might want to move our mics up just a little bit, Todd.
Hello? Hello?
Move yours up a little bit.
Is this on? Is this on?
Let's begin at the beginning. Growing up in Upper Darby, Pennsylvania. I feel like we're like a mile apart here. We can scoot in a little bit and kill a couple of plants. It was a musical household. Obviously, was it a dream when you were a kid to be a musician, or did it just kind of come upon you? And when did technology kind of begin to be a curiosity for you?
Well, the house was musical only in as much as my parents were music fans, but neither one was a musician. They enjoyed a little robust caroling every once in a while. They liked to sing in the car and harmonize. Music that, well, I vaguely remember it now, but it's, you know, kind of like the novelty tunes of the big band era. But they could sing in harmony. It was kind of like Lucy and Ricky, I guess. But my dad was very much into music and had a very eclectic, or somewhat eclectic taste in music. And so I was exposed to styles that probably a lot of people were not exposed to. He was very much into contemporary classical music as well as maybe some older stuff, but he was anything from like Ravel on or Debussy on. He was pretty much into a lot of show tunes, things like that. The technological aspect came into it, I believe, fairly early because he built his own hi-fi probably from some plans in a popular electronics magazine. And I remember distinctly it was a green cube about this big with a black grill cloth, and a turntable sat on top, and I believe the electronics were built into the box. And I was never allowed to touch it. Only government-sanctioned music would ever be played on that hi-fi. But we used to go with regularity to my grandmother's house, my father's mom, and she had a piano in the attic, an old spinet. And I used to go up there for hours and just bang on it and think I was, you know, improvising the most wonderful music, probably just drowning out the rest of my life. That's what it was at that point. And just time would pass without me having any idea exactly how long it had been, but the experience of making the music, or what appeared to me to be music on the piano, kind of, I guess, primed me for the idea of eventually playing an instrument. And I went through several instruments in the early days. Believe it or not, when I was growing up, they had music programs in elementary school.
Amazing.
And any student who wanted to participate could very cheaply rent an instrument. And the first instrument that I thought I wanted to play was flute, but I never did get the embouchure exactly right. And also the fingering was obtuse to me, that I couldn't figure out the fact that it wasn't linear. And so I moved on to other instruments. So I remember my sister decided that she might play the clarinet, but she wasn't good at it and hardly touched it. And I learned how to play like a Mr. Ackerbilk song on it, which pleased my dad immensely. I think it was Two Strangers on the Shore. But I had this aptitude for picking up melodies and figuring out how to play them on the instrument. But my experience with the guitar was kind of, I don't know, perhaps it was delayed a bit because my dad had a guitar that he bought when he was in the service that he never played. It sat in the basement gathering dust, but I knew it was there, and I used to go down every once in a while and muck around with it a little bit. And one day I thought I would get serious and try and tune it. And I had a tuning in my head. I didn't know how to tune a guitar, what the notes were supposed to be, but I had one in my head, and my little fingers couldn't turn the machines enough, to get the string to where I wanted it. So I took a pair of pliers and turned it until the neck snapped off the guitar, and that didn't go over very well. But I believe I made it known to my parents in affirmative terms that I wanted to play the guitar, and eventually they got me guitar lessons at the local music store.
And how old were you at that point?
I was probably at 8 at the time, something like that.
And about what time did you get interested in robots?